Made in Hollywood.
The horror thriller Imaginary from producer Jason Blum is made in Hollywood.
We'd been spending time with Purge and Halloween, and I wanted to make a more supernatural movie and a movie that was fun.
Made in Hollywood.
Also on today's show, Adam Sandler and Carey Mulligan star as a husband and wife who are light years apart in the sci-fi drama Spaceman.
We did a bunch of rehearsals together, so we got to kind of lock into something.
Plus, the romantic thriller Love Lies Bleeding features Kristen Stewart. The biographical drama Cabrini shines a light on the patron saint of immigrants. And we also hunt down a serial killer in the mystery series Agatha Christie's Murder is Easy. This week on Made in Hollywood.
Made in Hollywood.
After a stepmom moves her family to her childhood home, she rediscovers a make-believe playmate that is more real than she remembers in the horror thriller Imaginary from producer Jason Blum.
How does it feel being back?
Good. I had such good memories here. Maybe my happy place can be our happy place?
Who left you all alone down here? I do have a lot of stuffed animals, but I have this one specific stuffed animal. It's actually not really a stuffed animal. It's a cat purse. It's my favorite stuffed animal. I got it from my grandma.
Start painting slowly. Yep, go out to the corner.
How much I love this, I knew my character. That's how much I love Chauncey.
When I was a kid, I had a Teddy Ruxpin, very 90s.
I was the kid that had just a million stuffed animals surrounded around me when I would sleep in my bed, and I still have them all.
I'm playing a new game with Chauncey.
The scavenger hunt list, that's fun.
Chauncey says you're not allowed to play with us.
Oh.
Because you left him. I need something happy.
I'm slightly embarrassed to admit that I still collect action figures and comic books as a full-grown, middle-aged man.
Yeah, I was an only child growing up, so I had a lot of my life was spent in a pretend imaginary world. So I definitely have connections to one's vibrant imagination.
Ugh, I thought bugs freaked you out.
If I can finish my list, Chauncey will take me on a trip to the place he's from.
We'd been spending time with Purge and Halloween, and I wanted to make a more supernatural movie and a movie that was fun. And Jeff came up with this idea, and I was very, very happy about it.
Something that hurts.
I prefer practical effects because the audience can sense that there's a reality there. There's a thing that's obeying the laws of physics. It's interacting with light in a very real way. Second reason is it gives the actors something to play off of.
As you can imagine, as an actor, it's so much easier to do your job when you have the playground. It's just it's extraordinarily, easier, more fun, and just really drops you into the world of the story when everything's tactile.
You've been spending time with a new friend? He asked you to do something that hurt you.
That was part of the game. Chauncey, there were 4 different Chaunceys, and there was a floppy version, which was like a regular stuffed bear. There was a posable version, and there's a puppet.
Yeah, I think it was definitely helpful to have something with you and
Yeah.
have something to look at and have something rather than just having a green screen or a tennis ball or something. It was definitely helpful to elevate our performances, I feel like.
Does that seem like a game a good friend would want to play?
Maybe we shouldn't play together anymore, Chauncey. Maybe we shouldn't be friends. No.
Just even the notion of growing up and playing make-believe, making up these stories, building these worlds with my friends.
She'll drop down. You're then going to have to get in the door, right?
It's something that some of us grow out of us. Obviously, some of us make an entire career out of it. But it's so universal.
You were always playing with your imaginary friend. When the connection was severed, the entity becomes enraged.
There's a lot going on in this movie that is relatable. It's not just a horror movie with fantastic creatures and things like that. There's a lot of real human drama, and I think the characters feel very authentic, and the portrayals of those characters feel very grounded. So I think people will be able to connect to the story that's happening on the screen.
He says he's right behind you.
But it was just my imagination.
A romance between a reclusive gym owner and an ambitious bodybuilder gets them caught in a web of lies and secrets in the crime thriller Love Lies Bleeding, starring Kristen Stewart.
You talked to your dad recently?
Why?
Give us a call.
The movie's like a mix between a fantasy and a nightmare. It's a real fever dream. Someone kind of paralyzed by whatever kind of baggage she may be carrying around. She's like this immovable object, and then she sees like the epitome of what the breadth of life could offer you, which is like this vivacious, incredible, strong woman who takes up an unbelievable amount of space.
So where did you appear from? Oklahoma.
But then what happens is like her kind of all of her baggage starts spewing out into the world and ruining her relationship.
Why don't you want me working for your dad?
Oh, he's a psycho.
One thing that I love about acting is that you get to build off everyone else too. So like I had what I pictured for Jackie, and then it's like someone might feed you a response and you're like, oh wow. It kind of just changes even your mindset, the character's mindset, everything, and you just get to like kind of play with each other and build this cool, crazy thing.
You don't understand. Get back in the car.
On the one hand, it's very kind of, you know, every moment of time is precious, so you sort of like plan things with a lot of precision. But then, I don't know, it's sort of like with these guys kind of finding exactly what the version of that thing is that's going to feel real. So you do, I don't know, the whole thing's like a weird sort of moving sculpture.
Well, that was really stupid, honey.
As you're writing it, as you're shooting it, you know, you do different takes of like, okay, now we'll do the sort of big, ridiculous one, now we'll try the small one, and then you continue doing it in the editing and the sound.
She's describing talent, somebody who has like vision and knows how to like, you know, make sure it doesn't fall off the ledge.
I'll never fall in love, okay?
Coming up, Adam Sandler and Carey Mulligan star in the sci-fi drama Spaceman. And we also look at the patron saint of immigrants in the biographical drama Cabrini. To find out where to watch any movie, check out MoviePhone.com. Find it, watch it.
We did a bunch of rehearsals together, so we got to kind of lock into something.
Made in Hollywood. Made in Hollywood.
Now available on your home screen. An astronaut who is physically and emotionally light years apart from his wife gets assistance from a mysterious visitor in the sci-fi drama Spaceman, starring Adam Sandler and Carey Mulligan.
On behalf of the Eurospace program, 189 days into your solo journey. Commander Prohatska, how are you feeling?
It made sense to the character to be alone as much as possible. Johan, when we were shooting the alone stuff, kind of just put me in my own world. The cameras were kind of far away. He let me just feel the sadness on my own and just got to be in my own little weird world.
There is something about comedians playing very non-comedic roles that is very effective, because you take an actor who's known for his comedy and you take away all the comedy from that. You take off the clown makeup and the funny suit and the funny shoes and all that. You'll have somebody who's going to be more naked and vulnerable than if you take, you know, a more conventional dramatic actor to do that.
He's not doing well. He misses his wife. And he shouldn't have left.
I think she was sort of feeling fed up, you know, and that's what I liked about the character, and the idea was that she's really annoyed, you know, that he's decided that he needs to do this thing for himself, but to the exclusion of everything else. You know, there are tons of films about brave men going off and fulfilling their dream or their huge mission in life, but, you know, you don't see the sort of reality of how people really feel about that, which is not always like cheerleading, it's the reality, which is like, this is massively inconvenient.
The undeniable theme of the film is about what happens when you prioritize yourself and your wants and needs too much versus those who are close to us.
I'm getting interference.
I did not intend to frighten you, skinny human. Do not be afraid.
I'm losing my mind.
Well, Paul, who plays Hanush, we did a bunch of rehearsals together, so we got to kind of lock into something that we were connecting on. And so he wasn't there when I was shooting it, but I felt his warmth throughout it, and it was kind of like a subconscious or spirit or something that I was able to talk to and be truthful with, and it was very cathartic.
Why are you here? I might be of help. I wish to assist you in your emotional distress. I don't need your help, but you do.
I started looking into this project in the pandemic, So loneliness and isolation was like, we shot this in the pandemic, and that was a big part of the experience, to be honest. What happens to all of us when we're deprived of our of the social aspect of us? We are social creatures, and when that is getting taken away from us, and how does that work for us? And to some extent, all of us were, camped up in a little spaceship during the lockdown.
You go where I go, and I go where you go.
I just want to come home.
The biographical drama Cabrini chronicles one immigrant woman's fight to build an empire of health, equality, and hope for the disenfranchised of New York City.
I was told that you were rejected by 3 different orders, each time for weakness of constitution.
Your Holiness, we can serve our weakness or we can serve our purpose, not both.
I knew very little about her. I had read something in a chapter of a book called, well, the translation would be Shut It Out, by the same author of Gomorrah, the book that became then the movie and then a series.
No, I think like a lot of people, I was familiar with the name, but it's always associated with institutions, and probably knew that she was a saint. I had no idea why.
I knew nothing about her, completely anything. And, I was very surprised that when I read her story, I was shocked that I didn't know about her.
My sisters, if we are to build an empire of hope, it seems we must first conquer New York.
The main drive is how, we must tell her story in the most cinematic and the most operatic way possible. That's how we started developing, the language to tell her story. That's how everything kind of came together.
In America, the greatest nation on earth, rats have it better than the children of 5 Points.
It's not safe. Not for you. Be careful. This place will eat you alive.
This was a case in which I didn't want to, and I couldn't try to reach the character, understanding how she moved or why or how. It was the other way around. I had to let her values and beliefs and what she stood for speak for her, and that informed everything else.
Doctors tell me 5 years.
5 would be a miracle.
In that case, I should get to work.
He had actually sent a letter saying he was aware that she was coming and saying, no, don't come here. Didn't want her to show up. And there she was in his office with a letter from the Pope. What's he going to say to the Pope? The reason I want to do this role is you see that change over the course of the story, and really through her influence, and because she is who she is, and he's changed by it.
We have to show America we are all people of dignity.
This project is overly ambitious, perhaps unrealistic.
I feel the job of a director is to break the prejudice that anybody might have about any given subject matter. When you hear the word none, you may build a prejudice in your head. That was one of the main challenges, how to break that right away. As soon as you sit down to watch the movie, what is it that I can do to break the prejudice and take you on this cinematic journey?
We are bold, or we die. This is how I learned to live in America.
To find out where to watch any movie, check out Moviephone.com. Find it, watch it. Up next, David Johnson and Morfydd Clark star in Agatha Christie's Murder is Easy.
I was so excited to be asked to be in Agatha Christie. I'd grown up watching them.
Made in Hollywood. Made in Hollywood.
Now available on your home screen. A chance encounter thrusts a Nigerian attaché onto the trail of a serial killer as David Johnson and Morfydd Clark star in the adaptation of Agatha Christie's Murder is Easy.
Perhaps you might happen to know what time Scotland Yard closes. I have to report murder.
I was so excited to be asked to be in Agatha Christie. I'd grown up watching them, listened to lots of the books, and just found kind of the world she creates really funny.
She's a kind of a British institution. You know, she's an incredible writer who's made an immense amount of great works, kind of like Shakespeare. You know, for me, the role is everything. And I think this particular one was scary in the way that I like it to be.
How can someone murder 3 people in an English village without it being noticed?
He's a young black policeman who works in the force who comes over to solve a crime, I guess, and that's never happened in Agatha Christie history. You know, that comes with a big amount of responsibility, but also a big amount of like invention and fun to be had.
She was talking of murder in her village, and now she's dead.
Dead? The way she writes people is pretty brutal in that she really hones in on kind of people's flaws and weirdness. There's nowhere to hide when kind of an Agatha Christie detective is looking at you.
Call the police!
You take me for a mass murderer?
And what I find quite incredible about this particular one is the parallels between 1950s Britain and today. A lot has changed, but we've still got a long way to go. I think that's what's kind of cool about this particular one. It's maybe a bit more polarizing than some of the other ones.
He is much more under scrutiny than lots of her detectives. Like Miss Marple is invisible almost because of her age. His attention to her was Luke Fitzwilliam. All eyes are on him.
Really is. A place where murder is easy.
Stay tuned, there's more coming up on Made in Hollywood.
Made in Hollywood.
Thanks for watching Made in Hollywood, powered by Moviefone. For more behind-the-screen content, check out moviefone.com.
Made in Hollywood. Made in Hollywood.